The crown is not a gift, it is a contract. According to high-level palace insiders, those were the chilling words spoken by King Charles III behind the reinforced doors of the Oak Room at Windsor Castle this week. For months, the world believed the king was a father first and a monarch second, desperately trying to keep the door ajar for his youngest son. We were wrong. Today, Legacy's Edge reveals a seismic shift in the House of Windsor, a strategic surgical strike that has left the Duke and Duchess of Sussex in a state of absolute legal panic. As the clock ticks down to a historic royal summit at Sandringham, King Charles has reportedly dropped the mask of the patient father and picked up the sword of the sovereign. This isn't about small talk or family therapy anymore. It is about a secret that Harry thought was buried deep within the Althorp archives, a secret that King Charles has now reportedly exposed to the Privy Council to justify the ultimate punishment, the formal revocation of royal titles. Imagine the scene: a quiet room, a stack of confidential dossiers, and a king who has finally decided that the institution he spent 70 years waiting to lead will not be dismantled from the inside. Harry reportedly thought his status was a birthright that could never be erased. He thought he could keep the royal brand while attacking the royal foundation. He was wrong. The king has allegedly unearthed a moral breach so significant that it violates the very oath Harry took at his wedding. This wasn't just a health crisis or a media feud. This was a calculated risk that backfired. In the next few minutes, we will take you inside the war room where William and Charles formulated this scorched earth strategy. We will expose the hidden clause in the 1917 letters patent that Charles is using as his legal blade, and reveal why Harry is currently in a 48-hour race against time to stop a decree that would effectively erase Prince from his name forever. The king has declared that the family's privacy is no longer a shield for Harry's profit, and the final ultimatum has been delivered. Don't look away, because what you're about to hear is the end of the fairy tale and the beginning of a cold, institutional reality. If you think this is just another headline, you are missing the whole story. Charles hasn't just lost a son, he has gained a resolve that will redefine the monarchy for the 21st century. The atmosphere at Sandringham House has often been described as chilly, but insiders claim the coldness emanating from the long library this week had nothing to do with the Norfolk winter. It was here, allegedly, that King Charles presented the Sandringham Dossier to his most trusted advisors. This wasn't just a collection of tabloid clippings. It was a forensic audit of Harry's financial and legal maneuvers over the past 24 months. The secret Charles reportedly exposed involves a direct violation of the 2020 Megxit agreement, a document Harry allegedly treated as a suggestion rather than a binding constitutional contract. According to sources close to the Crown's legal team, the dossier contains evidence that Harry attempted to trademark royal descriptors for a new series of international ventures, despite being explicitly forbidden from doing so. But that's just the surface. The real betrayal that has Charles ready to revoke titles is a reported back-channel negotiation between the Sussexes and a foreign political entity, one that could compromise the monarchy's strict neutrality. Charles, a man who has spent his life protecting the golden triangle of government, church, and crown, saw this as the ultimate red line. He is not just a disgruntled son anymore, a palace aide whispered. In the king's eyes, he has become a constitutional liability. As Charles flipped through the pages of the dossier, the realization hit the room. Harry's secret wasn't just about money. It was about a shadow monarchy being built in Montecito. The king realized that every time he offered an olive branch, it was being used as fuel for the next media deal. The betrayal is the revelation that Harry reportedly kept a private log of King Charles's personal health updates to potentially use in future publishing projects. For Charles, this was the shatter point. The father's heart may still ache, but the king's hand is steady. He has seen the data, he has seen the intent, and he has now authorized the Privy Council to prepare the instrument of revocation. Harry is reportedly blindsided. He believed his father was too weak to act, too worried about his own public image to strike back. He underestimated the king's resolve to protect the institution for William and George. The historic summit isn't a negotiation, it's an execution of a pre-planned legal strategy. Charles has exposed the secret, and the consequences are about to become global news. In the world of constitutional monarchies, symbols are power, and titles are the currency of influence. King Charles reportedly knows that to truly neutralize the threat posed by the Montecito branch, he must strike at their very identity. This brings us to the legal blade, the 1,917 letters patent, a decree issued by King George V that dictates exactly who can and cannot be called His Royal Highness. For years, Harry believed this was an untouchable birthright, but Charles has allegedly uncovered a constitutional loophole that changes everything. According to legal experts within the Duchy of Lancaster, the king is exploring a notice of rescission based on the principle of fundamental breach of service. The argument being crafted behind palace walls is that a royal title is not a personal ornament. It is a professional designation tied to the service of the crown. By establishing a commercial empire that actively profits from the disparagement of the monarchy, Harry has arguably vacated the office of prince. This isn't just a father being angry. This is the CEO of the monarchy, protecting the brand from a hostile takeover. The secret Charles exposed to the summit advisors is that the 1,917 decree allows the sovereign to issue a new letters patent at any time to amend the status of family members who live permanently abroad and engage in activities incompatible with the dignity of the crown. Harry's advisors reportedly told him the king would never go this far because of the public backlash. They were wrong. The king's legal team has reportedly already drafted the document that would restyle Harry as simply Mr. Henry Mountbatten Windsor if he does not comply with the summit's final demands. This move is surgical. It doesn't require an act of parliament, which could be messy and public. It is a royal prerogative. By invoking this, Charles is sending a message to every global brand currently partnered with the Sussexes. Your royal connection is about to expire. The king has reportedly told William that the cancer of betrayal must be cut out before it infects the next generation's reign. We are no longer talking about a family feud. We are witnessing the institutional erasure of a prince who thought he was bigger than the throne. The countdown has officially begun, and in the high-stakes world of Montecito, the silence is deafening. King Charles has reportedly issued a final ultimatum that has sent shockwaves across the Atlantic. Harry has exactly 48 hours to sign a binding non-disclosure and non-disparagement agreement, or face the immediate activation of the letters patent revocation. This isn't just a request for peace. It is a financial and social death warrant for the Sussex brand. Palace insiders describe this as a 48-hour race against time, a period where Harry must decide if his pride is worth more than his identity as a prince. In California, the mood is reported to be one of genuine fear and frantic legal activity. Harry is reportedly working the phones, calling his legal teams in London and Los Angeles to find a way to stall the king's decree. But the king's strategy is airtight. Unlike previous years where the palace would engage in months of back-and-forth negotiations, Charles has closed the door. The time for talking has ended. A senior courtier reportedly said, "The king has provided the path to redemption, or the path to erasure. The choice belongs to Harry." The pressure is mounting because Harry knows the terrifying truth. Without the royal prefix, his commercial value in the American market could plummet to zero. He is currently facing a liquidity crisis with a $14 million mortgage and a massive burn rate for security and PR. If the king strikes his name from the royal register, Harry isn't just losing a title, he is losing the golden parachute that has kept his lifestyle afloat since he fled the UK. Sources suggest that Prince William is the driving force behind this 48-hour deadline. He has reportedly urged his father not to blink, arguing that every hour Harry remains a prince while attacking the crown is an hour of institutional damage. The ultimatum is clear: total silence or total removal. As the sun sets on the Althorp estate and the Norfolk coast, Harry is realizing that the Bank of Dad and the Vault of the Spencer are both under the shadow of a king who has finally run out of patience. The final battle for the Sussex identity is down to the last few grains of sand in the hourglass. While the legal battle rages in London and the financial panic boils in California, a silent but equally devastating war is being fought 70 miles north of the capital at the Althorp estate. This is the ancestral home of the Spencer family, and at its center stands Charles, the 9th Earl Spencer, the man who once vowed to protect Diana's sons from being swallowed by the monarchy. But today, that blood vow has become a political curse. King Charles and Prince William have reportedly placed the Earl in an impossible bind. Choose the nephew who has fled, or pledge allegiance to the king who remains. Insiders claim that the king's private secretary delivered a message to Althorp that was far from a sentimental plea. It was a cold, institutional warning from the crown. The betrayal Charles exposed involves a series of private Spencer archives that Harry reportedly attempted to monetize as part of a multi-million-dollar media package. King Charles has made it clear, any support for Harry at this stage is viewed as financing the ammunition for a hostile entity attacking the very institution the Spencers have served for centuries. This puts Earl Spencer in a terrifying ultimatum. On one hand, Harry is the son of his late sister, the boy Diana worried about the most. If the Earl bows to the king's pressure and locks the family vaults against Harry, he destroys his relationship with his nephew and risks becoming the next villain in a Sussex memoir. But on the other hand, the Earl is a pragmatist who knows that Prince William is the future king who wields the full weight of the monarchy. Defying William and the king could lead to the social and political ostracization of the entire Spencer line. The king is reportedly urging the Althorp trustees to activate a discretionary hold on any further assets intended for Harry, arguing that he is under the influence of hostile external forces. This isn't just about family loyalty. It's about a financial straitjacket designed to stop the asset bleed into the American courts. The Spencer family is now split down the middle, and as the historic summit approaches, the Earl knows that whatever decision he makes, he will be breaking a sacred promise to someone he loves. The mask has slipped at Althorp, and the reality of power has replaced the fairy tale of protection. While the pressure mounts on the English countryside, the true engine of Prince William's anxiety is running hot 5,000 miles away in the courtrooms of Los Angeles. To the casual observer, blocking Harry's titles and assets might seem like a family spat, but insiders suggest William's motivation has shifted from personal anger to cold, hard, legal panic. The Prince of Wales has reportedly placed a terrifying dossier on the King's desk titled The California Risk. This document exposes a reality that Harry may not even fully grasp: the legal trap of community property laws. William is reportedly acutely aware that once any part of the royal inheritance or assets enters a joint account in California, it ceases to be sole property and becomes a marital asset. The nightmare scenario keeping the future king awake at night is the concept of commingling. He fears that if Harry and Meghan's marriage were ever to dissolve, a Los Angeles judge could technically order Diana's sacred legacy, including rare jewelry and funds meant for her bloodline, to be split 50-50. To William, seeing his mother's emeralds awarded to Meghan Markle as part of a spousal support package is an apocalypse scenario. This is why the king's exposure of Harry's secret is so strategic. By revoking the prince title before the summit, Charles is effectively devaluing Harry's legal standing in the U.S. and creating a financial straitjacket. William is pushing for a protective trust variation, a plan B that would block Harry from ever touching the principal capital of his inheritance. He wants Harry to be legally barred from possessing physical jewelry, ensuring it stays on British soil under British law. William refuses to let the legacy of the Spencers and the Windsors become a bargaining chip in an American divorce settlement. He is building a legal fortress around Diana's memory, even if it means treating his 40-year-old brother like a reckless spendthrift who cannot be trusted with his own allowance. As the clock ticks, William's message is clear. The Crown's assets will not be bled into the California courts. This is a war of attrition, and William is playing for keeps. While the legal fortress is being built in London, the mood in Montecito has shifted from defiance to dawning panic. To understand why the king's decision to revoke titles and freeze assets is so devastating, we must look beyond the headlines and into the ledger. The reality of Harry and Meghan's new life is that it is staggeringly expensive, and according to financial experts, the burn rate of brand Sussex is rapidly outpacing its income. For years, Harry operated under the assumption that the Spencer money was his old money safety net, a golden parachute that the crown could never touch. But with William's scorched earth strategy effectively locking the vault, that parachute has been cut. The timing is catastrophic. The era of easy money in Hollywood is over. The $20 million Spotify deal collapsed in a public humiliation, and the Netflix deal reportedly hangs by a thread. Yet, the bills for their $14 million mortgage and a massive staff of PR agents continue to pour in. The killer cost that reportedly keeps Harry awake at night is security. Since losing taxpayer-funded protection, Harry has been forced to pay for a private security detail that rivals that of a head of state, costing an estimated $2 to $3 million a year. Without the steady drip of inheritance or a massive new contract, Harry is facing a liquidity crisis. He is realizing that without the royal title and the access it provides, he is entirely dependent on a marketability that is a fickle friend. This financial pressure is fueling a deep sense of paranoia. Harry reportedly feels encircled, viewing William's actions not as protection but as petty revenge. In Harry's eyes, William has everything: the Duchy of Cornwall, the palaces, and the crown jewels, while Harry is left with a mortgage and a podcast. To Harry, this inheritance freeze is the height of cruelty, a move that attacks the one thing that still connects him to his mother. The American dream is turning into a financial nightmare, and the Sussexes are realizing that you cannot burn the bridge and expect the supply truck to keep driving across it. As the sun sets over the manicured lawns of Montecito, the atmosphere inside the Sussex mansion is reported to be one of siege mentality. Prince Harry, once the carefree royal rebel, is now reportedly frantically calling his lawyers and working the phones in a desperate bid to outflank his brother's financial blockade. Sources suggest that Harry feels encircled and is attempting to bypass Earl Spencer and Prince William entirely by reaching out to his aunts, Lady Sarah McCorquodale and Baroness Jane Fellows, along with his cousins. Harry is searching for a sympathetic ear within the Spencer clan, someone who still holds Princess Diana's wish for her sons to be free as a sacred mandate. He is fighting to keep the channels of communication open because he knows the terrifying truth. If the Spencer vault closes, his lifestyle in America could collapse into a financial nightmare. The betrayal that King Charles exposed has left Harry feeling that the very institution he fled is now powerful enough to turn his own mother's brother against him. This pressure is fueling a deep sense of paranoia. In private, Harry reportedly argues that William has everything: the Duchy of Cornwall, the palaces, and the crown jewels, while he is left to struggle with a mortgage and the cost of maintaining a global brand. To Harry, this move is not about protecting the family honor. It is petty revenge designed to strip him of the last thing that connects him to his mother's legacy. The Sussexes are realizing that the era of easy money in Hollywood is over, and without the steady drip of inheritance, they are being forced into a corner where they may have no choice but to sell more secrets just to survive. Every dollar released from the trust now comes with strings attached, and Harry is finding himself in a financial straitjacket, legally treated like a teenager who must ask permission to access his own mother's money. The siege is real, and for a man who burned his bridges, the supply trucks have finally stopped coming. While the headlines focus on the immediate betrayal and the fury of the king, Prince William is reportedly playing a much longer, more clinical game, a game of attrition. Sources close to Kensington Palace suggest that William views this not as a temporary spat, but as a necessary institutional erasure. He knows that Harry doesn't have the time or the liquidity to fight a protracted legal battle in the High Court of London against the Prince of Wales. By forcing Harry into a financial straitjacket, William is effectively neutralizing his brother's ability to wage a media war. William's strategy is built on the belief that the memory of our mother is not a commodity to be traded for Hollywood clout. He is reportedly the one pushing the king to treat Harry as financially incompetent to manage the Spencer legacy. If the protective trust variation is activated, Harry will be 40 years old, yet legally treated like a teenager, forced to submit receipts and justifications to trustees who report back to his brother. This is a masterstroke of soft power. It corners Harry completely. If he complains, William can simply say he is safeguarding the money for Archie and Lilibet. The future king is reportedly choosing to be the villain in Harry's story today, so he can be the hero in Diana's history forever. He fears that if he doesn't stop the asset bleed now, the Spencer archives will end up as a plot point in the next season of a reality show. William is drawing a line in the sand. He has reportedly told the Sandringham summit that the monarchy must move from pretending nothing ever breaks to a cold realization that health and loyalty are not optional. In William's eyes, the Spencer safety net that Harry has relied on his entire life is being pulled away strand by strand. This isn't just about $14 million. It's about who gets to own the story. William is ensuring that the crown remains the ultimate authority, far out of reach of Californian judges and Netflix producers. The royal erasure is nearly complete, and as the 48-hour ultimatum expires, the Prince of Wales is standing ready to watch the instrument of revocation be signed into history. The battle for the Spencer Vault and the Sussex titles has reached its inevitable conclusion, teaching us a brutal but necessary lesson about power and legacy. You cannot burn the bridge and then expect the supply truck to keep driving across it. For years, Prince Harry has preached the gospel of freedom, freedom from the institution, freedom from the press, and freedom from his family's rules. But he seems to have forgotten that true freedom in the royal world comes with a staggering price tag. You cannot spend 4 years attacking the very source of your privilege, and then act surprised when that privilege is revoked by a king who has finally run out of patience. From the perspective of institutional survival, King Charles and Prince William are not acting out of malice. They are practicing the ultimate form of tough love. They are drawing a permanent line in the sand, declaring that the crown and the memory of Princess Diana are not commodities to be traded for Hollywood clout. This historic summit marks the end of the fairy tale monarchy. The system has finally been forced to admit it can bleed, and in doing so, it has become more clinical, more defensive, and far less forgiving. The betrayal Charles exposed has rewritten the monarchy's script. Harry now stands at a crossroads, a man with a famous name but no formal power, facing a financial nightmare without the Spencer safety net. If the monarchy wants to survive in a world that watched this suffering in real time, it can no longer go back to pretending that nothing ever breaks behind palace walls. The royal erasure of the Duke of Sussex is not just a family feud, it is a test case for whether an ancient institution can adapt to human vulnerability while maintaining its cold, hard authority. Now the gavel passes to the jury of public opinion. Is King Charles right to expose Harry and revoke his titles to protect the family honor? Or is he being unnecessarily cruel by denying a son his birthright? Cast your vote in the comments below. Type Team William if you think the vault should stay locked and the titles revoked. Type TEAM Harry if you think the inheritance and the status belong to him no matter what. If you're tired of being fed polished palace lines without context, this space is for you. Don't just scroll past the royal drama, understand what it says about power, secrecy, and the institutions that still rule over millions.